Hello, friends of Golf Course Quality Fertilizer. Well, your summer is here. I mean, we are ready to water finally. June 12th, northern Indiana. We finally have to do our first watering of the season. I probably should have watered maybe a little earlier, but as you can tell, I didn't mow yet, and that actually let me extend it out a little bit. I actually would have liked to have watered and mowed maybe yesterday, but what we're gonna do today, since I ran out of time yesterday, is I'm gonna run 30 minutes kind of all the way around. I use a hose, a sprinkler. I use these knocker guys. These are my favorite kinds. There's all kinds of styles that I use with watering. Each time I use one of these, I'll do it for 3 hours in one area. Why do I do it for 3 hours with a hose? 3 hours? That's a long time.
You want to get the yard
Watered, right? Enough. Well, how do we know how much we're doing? I mean, without just run it 3 hours and you just
No, tell us.
maybe that's long enough. Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe you should get one of those little measuring cups. I mean, those things. Yeah, and even the rain gauge. Bring that rain gauge over here. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Even the rain gauge.
Yeah, that's right. So these things are great. These will help you understand actually how much you're watering, right? Because it might be 3 hours for me, but it might only be an hour and a half for you, especially if you have a sprinkler system, right? So each time that I'm using my hose, it's about half the amount that a sprinkler would do, because sprinklers, they water from head to head, right? And if yours aren't watering from head to head, then you might have to water for 3 hours, and that might be why you always struggle trying to keep enough water in your grass. But we want to get a lot of water down, because we want to soak it all the way through the roots, deep into the ground, and that way we're feeding the whole root system with water, right? And that's what we call full saturation waterings. If I do that, then I can wait a lot longer for my next watering. Rather than doing 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you got to stop doing that. Unless you have to because it costs you $1 million, don't do those little waterings unless it's like a rescue water, right? If it's the middle of the day and things are burning up, okay, I'm gonna turn it on for 30 minutes and get a little water on it, and that's literally what it is, a little water on it just to keep it alive. And that's what you end up doing if you just do 30 minutes. You're just keeping the top of that grass alive. It's like feeding a marathon guy, get a little teacup. If you're on a marathon, do you want a little teacup of water?
No.
You want a big old glass of water. You want to be able to splash it in your face, drink it down, and then be fully quenched. Well, that's what the grass wants as well, right? And so make sure that you're doing deep waterings. And I'm starting today doing mine, right? There's other tools you can use. Why don't you grab that moisture manager? I mean, there's all kinds. So, you know, this, I'm not advocating this actually particular brand, right? But this is something that you can spray in your lawn. If you do have that city water type of stuff, it actually makes your water work even better, more efficiently. We talked about it before, but these are other tools you can use, right? And so there's one thing that I had to do. I had to avoid mowing. So now I'm going to water for 30 minutes real quick. I'll mow my lawn, and then I'm going to come back with my 3 hour cycle.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I do that 30 minutes, I'm actually going to put the water back in the leaves. I'm not going to leave these burnt strips and stuff. So never, ever mow your yard when it's crispy dry or looking purple. Don't do it, because it'll hurt the grass, and then you're going to spend the next 2 weeks trying to get it back. You end up overwatering. You end up with diseases, blah, 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 running through fertilizer. I mean, just make it easy, right? If it looks crunchy, water it before you mow it, or mow it that evening, you know, and then mow it when it's real late, and you can tell when it's not so crispy or it's not going to bake it out anymore, and then water deep that next day, right? Or that next morning if you have an irrigation system. So just timing your watering. Today's our first day of the year. We'll see, maybe we'll only have to water 5 times this year, I don't know, but that'd be amazing. That'd be a new record. But so far it's a record. June 12th, first time watering northern Indiana.
June 12th, today.
Yeah, today. Diseases are kind of slowing down, and if you notice, so are the mushrooms. That's because it hasn't rained for a while. The wind on Friday was crazy, dried things out really fast. We might get some rains here and there, but you do need a rain gauge, right? Because if it only rains 2/10 of an inch, you're gonna have to still water with your hose and finish off that 3/4 of an inch that we're trying to achieve, all right? So those are little tips you gotta think about as well, all right?
It's even fun to look at it too.
It is.
See how much rain we get.
I know, you see how much rain you got. Exactly right. That's right. Oh, and make sure you get the kind that are tapered, because they have these decorative ones that look cool and it's just a straight cylinder. You're not going to get a correct measurement of how much rain it is. I actually have a couple different rain gauges. That way I can kind of gauge it according to where the wind's going and all that. And I have a digital one, which I can see how much rain, and it keeps track of the history of rain, which is super awesome too. So all kinds of rain gauges out there. Have fun with rain gauges. Water deep and infrequent.
Recommend.
That's right.
It's also in the store.
That's right. It's in the store. We'll
Also
see
in
you.
the store.
Thanks for listening.